There's something strange about the night, when the world becomes quiet, when the noise finally disappears, and when the human mind is left alone with its thoughts. Sleep becomes more than rest. It becomes a mirror. Some people fall asleep in peace. Others stare at the ceiling, fighting invisible wars inside their own minds. And for thousands of years, humanity has asked the same question. Why do we sleep? But perhaps a deeper question is this. What does God think about sleep? The Bible, one of the oldest and most influential books in human history, doesn't treat sleep as a weakness. It treats sleep as something sacred, a gift, a warning, a symbol of trust, and sometimes a sign of spiritual danger. Tonight, we are going to explore what the Bible truly says about sleep, not just physically, but spiritually. Because according to Scripture, the way you sleep may reveal the condition of your soul. In today's world, sleep is often treated like an obstacle. People brag about surviving on 4 hours of sleep. Productivity is worshipped. Rest is seen as laziness. But the Bible paints a completely different picture. In the book of Genesis, after creating the heavens and the earth, God himself rested on the seventh day. Not because God was tired, but because rest was part of creation itself. From the very beginning, human beings were designed with limits. The Bible never teaches humans to become machines. Instead, it constantly reminds us, you are fragile, you are mortal, you need rest. Psalm 127 says, He gives sleep to those He loves. Think about that. Sleep is described as a gift from God, not a punishment, not wasted time, a gift. Every night, when your eyes close, you are surrendering control. You stop working. You stop watching over your life. You become vulnerable. And yet, you trust that you will wake up again. In a way, sleep is one of the greatest acts of faith humans perform every single day. Without realizing it, every sleeper is practicing trust. For most of human history, nighttime was terrifying. No electricity, no city lights, only darkness. Predators moved through the shadows, thieves waited silently, and the unknown felt endless. To sleep at night meant becoming defenseless. That is why many biblical verses connect sleep with divine protection. Psalm 4 says, "In peace I will lie down and sleep. For you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety." Imagine the power of those words in an ancient world filled with danger. The Bible acknowledges fear, but it repeatedly tells believers, you are not alone in the dark. Even in the silence of midnight, God watches. And maybe that message still matters today, because modern darkness is different. Today, people fear anxiety, failure, depression, loneliness. The room may be safe, but the mind is not. Millions of people lie awake every night, not because of wild animals. There's another side to sleep in the Bible. Sometimes people cannot sleep because their conscience is restless. Guilt has a strange power. It follows people into the dark. In the Bible, kings lost sleep over their sins. Enemies stayed awake because of fear, and troubled minds wandered through the night. Because silence exposes what daytime hides. During the day, people distract themselves. Noise, work, entertainment, conversation. But at night, the soul becomes louder. And perhaps this is why the Bible often encourages self-reflection before sleep. Psalm 4 also says, search your hearts and be silent. That silence can be uncomfortable because deep down, many people are carrying things they never healed from. Regret, bitterness, shame. The Bible teaches that peace does not come merely from exhaustion. True rest comes from reconciliation, from forgiveness, from letting go. Maybe that's why some people sleep for 10 hours and still wake up tired. Because physical sleep cannot heal a spiritually exhausted heart.
The Bible is filled with dreams. Again and again, God speaks through the night. Jacob dreams of a ladder reaching heaven. Joseph receives visions about the future. Daniel interprets mysterious dreams for kings. And in the New Testament, Joseph, the earthly father of Jesus, is warned through dreams to protect his family. To ancient people, sleep was never just biological. The night was mysterious, sacred, a doorway between fear and revelation. Now, does this mean every dream is...
But perhaps the Bible's most powerful message about sleep is not physical, it is spiritual. The Bible repeatedly warns people not to become spiritually asleep. In Romans, Paul writes, "It is time to wake from sleep." He wasn't talking about beds, he was talking about awareness. The Bible describes many people as spiritually asleep, alive physically, but disconnected morally and spiritually. People distracted by greed, consumed by pride, numb to suffering, blind to truth. According to Scripture, a person can walk, talk, work, and still be asleep inside. And maybe that idea feels disturbingly modern. Today, many people scroll endlessly through screens, moving from distraction to distraction, never slowing down long enough to ask, who am I becoming? The Bible constantly calls humans to wake up, to become conscious, to live intentionally, to recognize that life is temporary. Because one day, everyone will sleep for the final time. And Scripture describes death itself as sleep. Temporary, silent, waiting. Not the end, but a transition.
One of the most emotional scenes in the Bible happens at night. Before his arrest, Jesus goes to the Garden of Gethsemane. He is overwhelmed with sorrow. He knows suffering is coming. And what are his closest followers doing? Sleeping. 3 times he finds them asleep, and he says, "Could you not stay awake with me for 1 hour?" It's a deeply human moment. The disciples were exhausted, afraid, weak. And maybe that scene represents all of humanity. People sleeping while important things are happening around them. Spiritually distracted, emotionally numb, too exhausted to stay awake for what truly matters. Yet even then, Jesus responds not with hatred, but compassion. Because the Bible understands human weakness. Again and again, Scripture reminds people, you are fragile, and still, God cares for you. So, what does the Bible really say about sleep? It says sleep is a gift, a reminder that humans are not gods. It says rest matters, peace matters, trust matters. But it also warns against another kind of sleep, the sleep of the soul. The kind where people drift through life without awareness, without purpose, without truth. Maybe tonight, before you fall asleep, you should ask yourself one question. Is my body resting while my soul is awake? Or have I become spiritually asleep without even realizing it? Because according to the Bible, the most dangerous sleep is not the one that closes your eyes. It's the one that closes your heart. If you enjoyed this deep storytelling experience, subscribe to Listen with Ryan for more cinematic stories about history, philosophy, faith, and the mysteries of human life. And remember,
Sometimes the quietest nights ask the loudest questions.